Welcome to another edition of anti-speciesist framing for non-human animal rights. Today's video tackles the idea of species extinction and how it fits into an anti-speciesist framework. You've perhaps heard talk that we are on the brink of Earth's sixth mass extinction, with some studies projecting we could see 3/4 of the planet's species disappear in the next 300 years. The talk of species extinction is often part of conversations surrounding climate change, but it also pops up in discussions of animal rights as evidence of non-human animal struggle. From an anti-speciesist perspective, we actually have no need to focus on species extinction, and in fact, it can confuse the message of anti-speciesism. We need to focus on individuals, not on species. If the goal becomes preserving species, this can actually perpetuate speciesism and harm individuals. I'll use an example from Animal Ethics, an anti-speciesist organization who has written on the topic to explain. In Europe, the white-headed duck is considered an endangered species, and conservation programs have been working to preserve their populations for decades. One threat to the white-headed duck species includes the ruddy duck. Interbreeding between white-headed ducks and ruddy ducks results in hybrid ducks, and the white-headed trait then becomes less and less prevalent and eventually could result in extinction. Now, if you are looking at these pictures and you don't see much difference, you're not alone. While researching, I found detailed guides to identifying if you had seen an invasive ruddy duck who should be killed immediately, or if you were looking at a white-headed duck who must be celebrated and preserved at all costs. I'll link in the description to an online debate about a picture where they had to call in multiple experts to identify the photo of a duck and which species they were. I think it highlights the danger of focusing on species. Rather than seeing an individual who wants to live and has their own interests, humans are trained to see biological units that need to be classified, and that arbitrary classification will decide if the individual lives or dies. While white-headed ducks are native to Europe, ruddy ducks are not. They were introduced to Europe by humans and are considered invasive. I put invasive in quotations because it's a word used to denigrate certain individuals who are members of a species deemed problematic according to humans. This designation as invasive is then used as a pejorative to justify murder. Conservationists have supported and continue to support initiatives that result in the eradication and murder of ruddy ducks in order to preserve the white-headed duck species. Initiatives that plan to murder so-called invasive species are often done under the defense of protecting the environment, but in this case, this is being done purely for the preservation of a distinct species. Species is an abstract concept. A species cannot have an interest or preference in living or dying. Only individuals of that species can have interests. This means no individual is inherently more valuable because they are part of a species with fewer members. The last 100 individuals of a certain species are not more valuable because they are endangered. Species membership is not a morally relevant factor. When the last individual of a species dies, it is the individual who suffers the harm. The species cannot suffer any harm because it is only a concept that cannot have interests. To summarize, we should not be compromising the rights and lives of individuals to preserve a species which is an abstract concept that cannot be harmed or benefited. When we focus our messaging on species endangerment and extinction, we confuse people into not seeing individuals with rights. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more videos about anti-speciesist framing.